It's the Christmas shopping season in London, and the rush hour is in full swing. Commuters and shoppers stream through King's Cross, the city's busiest rail interchange. Suddenly, a deadly wall of flame roars through the packed station. It kills 31 people. The world's oldest subway system suffers the deadliest fire in its history. Now, using advanced computer simulations, we reveal exactly what caused the tragedy. Disasters don't just happen. They're a chain of critical events. Unravel the clues and count down those final seconds from disaster. Europe, England, London. King's Cross Station, Britain's busiest rail hub. It connects overground trains from the north with the city's 418 kilometres of subway network, affectionately known to Londoners as the Tube. 5 tube lines serve 8 platforms at King's Cross. The deepest is 27 metres underground. 250,000 passengers surge through the station's subterranean labyrinth of passages every day. Wednesday, November 18th, 1987. 7:18 p.m. It's still rush hour and the city centre is busier than ever as the Christmas shopping season gets into gear. For one man, the buzz and bustle of London is a new experience. 20-year-old Damon Brodie left his home in Scotland just 5 days ago to start a new IT job and a new life in the big city. He can't believe his luck.
I always wanted to live in London. I mean, for somebody at 20 years old, it was a dream come true.
Brodie is eager to soak up London sights. Tonight he's off to visit the famous Christmas lights in Regent Street. A trip that will take him on the Tube. But Londoners know that Christmas in the capital isn't all peace and goodwill. Four years ago, Irish terror group the IRA bombed the Harrods department store. The blast, 8 days before Christmas, killed 6 people. Now intelligence experts fear that the IRA may once again target London. But nobody knows where the terrorists might strike. (7:25 p.m.) At King's Cross, 27 meters underground, passengers stream off tube trains and onto escalators, taking them up to the ticket hall and the streets of London. On the Piccadilly line escalator, several commuters spot someone in a blue boiler suit descending into a manhole nearby. Workmen are a familiar sight on the wooden escalators of the aging, dilapidated tube system. 2 minutes later, electronics engineer Philip Squire joins the up escalator. He heads up towards the street, obeying tube etiquette by standing on the right-hand side.
As I was standing there, I was just looking around as you do, and I happened to look down.
He catches sight of something odd. A light beneath the wooden steps.
I could see this very bright glow, very intense.
When he reaches the top, he seeks out a London Underground worker, and they look back to the spot halfway down the escalator where Squire saw the glow. But there's no sign of it.
I felt a bit silly because you couldn't see anything. So to be honest, I felt stupid.
Philip Squire goes on his way, embarrassed to have caused a fuss. (7:30 p.m.) A couple of minutes later, a man hits the emergency stop button on the Piccadilly line escalator. A British transport policeman on routine patrol goes to investigate. He sees a small flame on one of the wooden steps. It's not a huge surprise. Fires are a fact of life on the aging infrastructure of the tube. There have been over 400 in the previous 3 decades. The policeman heads back up to the ticket hall where he can call the London Fire Brigade on his radio. Down below, staff follow routine practice, taping off the Piccadilly line escalator to divert passengers away from the tiny fire. 7:39. 9 minutes after the fire alert, the police decide they should evacuate the station as a precaution. 3 kilometers away, in the city's Soho district, the firefighters of Red Watch respond to the call and head for King's Cross. Soho is the busiest fire station in London. Many of the men have fought hundreds of blazes. 7:43. Red Watch arrive at the King's Cross ticket hall. The ranking officer is 45-year-old Fire Chief Colin Townsley. Townsley is married with 2 daughters and has served 23 years in the London Fire Brigade. He dreams of retiring early and buying a rural smallholding in France. Townsley is a dedicated and demanding leader who commands the respect and loyalty of his men. One of them is Robert Moulton, who served with the man he calls the Governor for 4 years. Townsley takes Moulton with him to assess the state of the fire. The blaze is now about the size of a campfire, but neither man is worried. "16 meters below, British Transport Police continue to clear hundreds of passengers from the station. One of the police officers is 27-year-old Richard Kukielka. After 5 years in the job, evacuation procedures are second nature.
It was just a matter of getting the people that were within the station out of the station.
Kukielka directs passengers onto the Victoria Line escalator, the only one still operating. It runs parallel to the Piccadilly Line escalator and emerges in the same place. The main ticket hall just below street level. Heading up to the ticket hall with the throng is London newcomer Damon Brodie. He was on his way to see the Christmas lights, but his trip has just been cancelled.
Well, there was no panic, there was no rushing, there was no... It was just normal.
7:44 p.m. The fire has been burning on the wooden steps for almost 15 minutes, and the flames are now around 1.5 meters high. The blaze is 20 meters from police officer Kukielka at the bottom of the Victoria Line escalator. Firefighting Chief Colin Townsley is in the ticket hall. Sightseer Damon Brodie is traveling up the adjacent Victoria Line escalator. Brodie reaches the top of the escalator and steps into the ticket hall. Moments later, a huge jet of fire erupts.
It was like an explosion happening in slow motion.
Damon Brodie takes a full hit. The jet of flame ignites his legs and lower body.
My life sort of ended at that point.
In London's King's Cross station, a small blaze has suddenly erupted into a ferocious inferno, spewing out fire like a flamethrower, engulfing dozens of commuters in a ball of fire. One of them is 23-year-old sightseer Damon Brodie.
I knew that particularly at the back of me was on fire quite badly and around my legs area.
Now, thick black smoke pours out of the station exits into the street above. Here, firefighter Robert Moulton is getting a hose ready to deal with what was, just minutes before, a tiny escalator fire.
There was a terrific roar. I heard this horrible scream that seemed to go on for ages.
He's horrified. He knows the ticket hall was full of people moments before, among them his boss, Fire Chief Colin Townsley. News crews capture the scene as Moulton and his fellow firefighters grab oxygen sets. Ignoring the danger, they descend into the burning ticket hall to search for survivors.
Our only thought was just to try and fight our way down there, get to the fire and see if we can drag anyone out.
Caught in the inferno, Damon Brodie rolls over and over trying to put the flames out. Eventually, he succeeds. He's badly burnt, but now faces a new danger. Dense, choking smoke.
It was absolutely red hot, and I could feel it burning my throat and lungs.
Moments after the fire erupted, from the bottom of the Victoria Line escalator, young police officer Richard Kukielka can see a horrifying sight.
When I looked up the escalators, all I could see was darkness.
He realizes that when he sent passengers up the escalator, he unwittingly sent many of them straight into an inferno. But the blazing ticket hall is the only way out to the streets. Thinking fast, police and station staff flag down passing trains and bundle stranded passengers out of danger. But firefighter Robert Moulton battles on through the ticket hall, searching for survivors, including his boss, Colin Townsley. He's astonished by the ferocity of the fire.
It was tremendously hot, searingly hot. You couldn't believe it.
Then, as he shines his torch through the smoke, he sees something. It's a white helmet. His heart sinks. He knows white helmets are only worn by fire chiefs.
Put my face mask right up against the helmet and shone me torch on it, and I could see it was white, and I just knew it was Colin.
His boss isn't moving. And even if he's alive, Moulton knows Townsley's lungs will be full of toxic smoke. He has to get him into the open air, and quickly. Deep underground, the police think they've got everyone out. But then Kukielka and his colleague find a passenger slumped at the bottom of the escalators.
His hair was burnt, and his head was burnt, and his hands were badly burnt. He was in a lot of pain. He was screaming and shouting, and he was in a lot of pain.
The man needs urgent medical attention, but he's too badly burnt to evacuate by train. The young policeman fears they're trapped. Then he remembers there is another way out up to the street. They drag the man to some metal gates leading to the exit. But when they reach the gates, they discover, to their horror, that somebody has locked them.
Open the gates! Hello!
The only decision we could make then was to actually try and kick the iron gates down.
He yanks frantically on the gates, but they won't budge. The young policeman can't radio for help, as his walkie-talkie won't work underground. It's a crushing moment. And the fumes from the fire raging above are starting to spread throughout the station.
Our eyes were hurting and our chests were hurting, and we couldn't breathe properly.
Up in the blazing ticket hall, Moulton is dragging Fire Chief Townsley out of the inferno. What he doesn't know is that only meters away, sightseer Damon Brodie is fighting for his life. His lungs are screaming, and he desperately wants to sleep.
I thought, no, I'll just go to sleep now, and hopefully when I wake up, everything will be over.
dozens of people in the blazing ticket hall are succumbing to deadly toxic fumes. But in the streets above, news crews capture a desperate scene. Firefighters staggering out, beaten back by the intense heat and flames. These men know that any hope of saving the people trapped just 5 meters below is disappearing fast.